Video games are art. Doesn't matter if it's Grand Theft Auto or Minecraft, because every video game is art. Many people have tried to argue against video games, including politicians, parents, movie critics, the older generations, and even some game developers. They all argue that video games are interactive and are therefore not art, and that video games would never belong in a museum. However, these people couldn't be more wrong. Art is defined as something that is created with imagination and skill and expresses important ideas and feelings. Video games are things that are created with imagination and skill and express important ideas and feelings. Most people may not even realize that the Supreme Court, the Museum of Modern Art, and the Smithsonian all consider video games to be art. In 2011, the Supreme Court ruled that video games were protected under the First Amendment because of free speech and that video games were art. Roger Ebert, the acclaimed movie critic, once said that games can't be art since they have rules, points, objectives, and an outcome. Santiago might cite an immersive game without points or rules, but I would say then it ceases to be a game and becomes a representation of a story, novel, a play, dance, a film. Those are things you cannot win, you can only experience them. The critically acclaimed game Flower is obviously very artistic, but Roger Ebert refused to classify it as art. The views of video games are also widely varied among different age groups. The older the age groups got, the less of a variation there was between their beliefs. However, most people thought that video games were protected under the First Amendment and that they are forms of art. The news media does not often shape the opinion that people have, and most people ages 10 to 29 played video games, while the number of people who played video games decreased as the age increased. Most people do not believe that video games should be censored more than television, books, movies, or any other form of entertainment. All this information leads to the simple fact that video games are art. Just because something is interactive does not mean that it isn't art. Books, movies, television, plays, musicals, these are all interactive. You have to think about them and understand what is going on in order to fully comprehend the artistic value of the art.